Greetings everyone, and thank you for joining us on Hariview today. Let's have a look at what made the headlines this week. Haruna Bako is the new Director General of the National Refining Company Sonara. He was installed yesterday 9th February 2024 by the Minister of Water and Energy Gaston Etundu Elumba during the extraordinary board of directors in the company's headquarters in Limbe Southwest region. Plus, petroleum prices witnessed 15% increase across the national territory. Hi TV over the week zoomed in, finding out amongst others the effects on ordinary Cameroonians. And Cameroon has commemorated the 19th edition of Bilingualism Week nationwide under the theme Bilingualism, Vector of Digitalization of Education and Promotion of Civic and Moral Values for a Peaceful and Emergent Cameroon. And those are the headlines. You have details and more right ahead. Thanks for choosing High Television to be informed. I am Sintalatu. As you heard a while ago, the Southwest region has joined the rest of Cameroon to commemorate the National Bilingualism Week. The 19th edition unfolded with a call on students to embrace the two official languages amid digital challenges. Larry Kelvin Etengenenke report.
The Southwest Regional Education Family for the Secondary Education is joining her peers in the 9 other regions of Cameroon to celebrate the 19th edition of the National Bilingualism Day.
The importance of the theme of this year, there's a significant undertone. We have digitalization of teaching and civic and moral values highlighted in the theme. This year's theme, the Ministry of Secondary Education is essentially based on digitalization of teaching. The Ministry of Secondary Education has a vision to digitalize teaching, which is being effectively implemented in our schools today.
The ceremony that brought together schools in the region on the campus of PCSS Boya was taking place under the theme Bilingualism, Vector of Digitalization of Education and the Promotion of Civic and Moral Values for Peaceful Emergent Cameroon.
Le bilinguisme est un atout qui confère à tous citoyens des nouvelles compétences et lui offre des grandes opportunités aussi bien à l'échelle nationale.
The students who showcased their bilingualism prowess in news presentations, sketches, traditional dances, singing and others was part of the fervent festivities of the nation's pride.
Pilot schools, our 11 pilot schools wherein the special bilingual education program is being implemented. We have non-linguistic subjects that are taught in the other official language. We have intensive English and intensive French that have been taught out of the normal core French and core English that is taught to our children. And this program has gone far to the level of certification. We have the special bilingual French, and we have the BPC bilingue, the Kobatoa bilingue, the BAC bilingue, and advanced level special French.
With prizes given to meritorious schools and certificates of participation awarded to the different establishments who participated, the rendezvous has therefore been taken for next year.
Let's now take a listen to a member of the National Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, George Ngwane, who highlights amongst others the importance of bilingualism.
Thank you first of all, Heidi, for inviting me to shed some light on the Bilingualism Week, which I must confess started about 2003, and it was more under the auspices of the Ministry of Basic Education and then Secondary Education. Then it was just the Ministry of National Education. And the idea was actually to get a special education sector to be very, very equipped in terms of bilingualism practice. So it has matured over the years, and I think this year the theme is on bilingualism as a vector of digitalization, civic education for a peaceful and emerging Cameroon. I must confess sometimes that those themes are too long. But when I look at the one for this year, I can tell you that it's actually it's on bilingualism and citizenship. So yes, it was launched since Monday, like you know, and I think most schools are doing that bilingualism day, which is today, in the various campuses, I think, all throughout the Cameroon. And we also want to commend, as a member of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, we want to commend the efforts that the Ministry of Education, whether it's basic or secondary, what they have been doing, because that complements what the National Commission for Bilingualism stands for, which is that we're looking at a citizen-centered bilingualism, something that will help enhance not just the theory, but also the practice of bilingualism among Cameroonians. You know, the quarrel that we had before the commission was created in 2017 was that first, the Constitution is Article 1, Sub 3, had also mentioned that English and French were official languages with equal value. They had the same equal pedestal in terms of its service delivery. But we didn't have an institution to make sure that that is really regulated to the point where it can be respected by citizens. So the coming of the Commission in 2017 has helped to enhance not just the idea that bilingualism, the two languages which are official languages, English and French, are of the same value, but that it is incumbent on every Cameroonian to understand that English and French can be used indiscriminately by users. Now, because before the Commission, we realized that people will actually not consider, especially when you came to speaking English language. I'll take it, for example, in Yaoundé. You find that users were frustrated because their language of preference, which could have been English, whether in the Francophone area, or maybe French in the Anglophone area, was not considered by the persons that you were coming to ask for service by. And so it has been incumbent to most service providers that English language or French language are of equal status and could be used indiscriminately. Now, this is the theory. Now, what we're really asking is, how far have we gone to ensure that this theory is actually put into practice? Luckily, the Bilingualism Commission has been able to visit a couple of ministries. Since 2017, we have visited ministries about 3 times. We've gone down to the regions. We've gone down to the private sector. And we remember the visit we had in Douala, which had to do with the economic sector. So we have tried as much as possible to touch at every sector of society and be able to do what we now call the sensitization phase. How far have we gone with that? How far have the recipients been able to implement what we have been talking about? I must say we are having a mixed baggage of that. It's a matter of mixed fortune. There are some service providers that have understood the message and are trying as much as possible to put it into practice. And there are a few that are reluctant, that are reticent for reasons that I won't be able to mention, and that has been a challenge in how effective bilingualism is. Because I will tell you, I live most of the time in the Southwest region, and I have reports coming from people who are stakeholders whose documents still come to them in French. I've had that even from local mayors, local actors on the field. So that is frustrating for us to understand that even the 2 Anglophone regions, where English language is actually more of a working language, where English language is more of a predominant language, it is important for those who are sending documents to use the 2 regions especially to understand that fact that the region, the language should be English first, and of course French, because we're talking about bilingualism. So yeah, we've got cases where we are completely ill at ease with the fact that they are not still having this theory when we are around and sensitizing into full practice. This brings us to another level that most language commissions use. That is the phase of enforcement. Enforcement means that you can use 2 ways. One, you can use incentives to make sure that people who are doing the best practices of bilingualism are compensated. They are given what the Canadians call the bilingualism bonus. The second thing you could do as an enforcement phase is the phase of sanctions. Now, sanctions could be subtle or could be hard. The Commission does not have the powers to sanction, it does not have the powers of enforcement. because it is basically a body that is advisory. It is a body that is only consultative, and therefore it makes its report and sends it to the President of the Republic for action to take it. The time that the Commission probably will be given the subtle powers to be able to enforce the practice of bilingualism, I'm sure it will step up the ability of people and the capacity of people to understand that these two languages must be implemented in every sector of society.
In build-up to the National Week celebration, several activities unfolded over the week. The day is set aside to, amongst others, encourage young Cameroonians to work towards the emergence of Cameroon in 2035. Details with Rita Mafani.
National Youth Day, celebrated in many countries, has also been set aside in Cameroon as a national holiday to honor the youths and embrace the importance of education. As the 11th of February draws near, the significance of this day cannot be overemphasized, as some leaders call on the youths to be creative and innovative so as to create impact in their various communities.
I'm calling upon all Cameroonian youths to be able to maximize the Youth Week. It's a week that has been given to them by the state, and they should maximize it because it's a period where they need to reflect, need to take stock of that which they have been doing. They should look at their vision again, they should look at their future, they should look at how to build themselves, develop themselves as individuals, and develop their careers. I will encourage most youths to go to school, especially professional institutions, where they will be able to come out as professionals and will be able to develop their own businesses and become entrepreneurs.
Being emerging leaders of tomorrow, the youth hold a position of responsibility, one of which is the aspect of morality and upholding excellent moral values. As they prepare to celebrate, there is a need to understand the economy of Cameroon and possible solutions to various problems faced as they prepare for the work ahead.
We've moved from an age where they used to say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow to a place where now you are being empowered to understand that you are the youth of today. You are the leaders of today. You are the leaders. You are the ones we have been waiting for. And you have resources and gifts and talents that you've been given to use for the betterment of society. And you have what it takes. It's not somebody else. It's not another generation. We are that generation that will stop blaming. So my counsel will be, let's move from the blame game. Let's move from the accusation. Let's move from complaining and become people that are actually awakened, that are taking responsibility.
In an age of digital emancipation, the youths are equally expected to explore the various platforms to empower themselves and develop mechanisms that will not only make them job creators but self-sufficient.
I wish to tell them that they should exploit the new shift, which is a shift of information and communication technologies. They have all in the internet, they have all online. There's a lot of information. They should read many books, books of great authors, books of successful businessmen, successful business leaders, successful leaders in politics and any other type of leaders.
As this day draws near, the week is filled with activities reminding the youths of all they can and should do in order to answer the unanswered questions.
Still in line with the National Youth Day celebration, the Senior Divisional Officer of Menchum Division has called on youths to be law-abiding and entrepreneurial. He was speaking during the launch of the 58th edition of the National Youth Day celebration in that part of the country. Alice Kamelikia tells us more.
The 58th edition of the National Youth Week in Cameroon has been officially launched in Menchum Division by the Senior Divisional Officer of that division, Abdullahi Aloy. He called on the youth to be law-abiding.
Of our population and are the prime victims of the challenges cited above. We hereby call on them to be patriotic, law-abiding, entrepreneurial, responsible and civil in all that they do, so that our country, Cameroon, is sure of a good relay in all walks of life.
He also acknowledged the many challenges in the country and called on the youth to put hands on deck to overcome.
And the security challenges in the northwest, southwest, and far north region of our country, among others. For our country to veritably overcome these challenges, especially that of over-dependence on importation, all Cameroonians, and most especially the youths, are called upon to put hands on deck to combat this situation. All of these begins with a simple study of our local environment on what we consume more.
The event started with a sports walk with all the members of the educational family taking part. The theme of this year's edition is Youth, Import Substitution and Economic Patriotism for Cameroon's Development.
Let's now talk about something different. The Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson René Emmanuel Sadi has received a delegation of senior executives from the French international television channel TV5 Monde. The delegation that arrived Yaoundé on Monday, February 5, 2024, was led by the TV COO Yves Bigord. In an audience with the Minister Emmanuel Sadi, the team discussed on the incident that occurred last January 23, 2024 during the live broadcast of the news program 64 Le Monde en Français. Let's now take a listen to Yves Bigord.
I came here to meet with the communications minister to present him with all the excuses from TV5 Monde and tell him that we are very sorry, that we are sorry and present our excuses to the people of Cameroon. There was absolutely no intent behind that unfortunate error. It was done as with planes crashes. It's not one thing, it's the multiplication of non-validation and multiple errors that led to that day unfortunate showing of the wrong Cameroon flag. Also, I wanted to make sure that Denise Epote's dignity was restored, because she was in some newspapers and in the social networks. She was made responsible for what happened. And even though Denise Epote has very important duties at TV5 Monde, she's in charge for the worldwide distribution, marketing, and commercialization of all our TV channels and all our digital offers, but she has absolutely nothing to do with the news content or with the news reports. So please, Cameroon people, Denise Epote has got nothing to do with this, please. And also I reminded the Minister of Communication that TV5 Monde is the official TV channel for the French-speaking international organization, and we are funded by France, but also by Canada, Switzerland, the state of Quebec, the French half of Belgium, and the Principality of Monaco, meaning we are French, but we are not only French, and in no way there was any French intent behind what is basically a series of human errors.
Thank you. Away from that, petroleum prices in Cameroon hit 15% recently. The government's move came at a time when inflation in the country hit the highest since 28 years in 2023. Read the details in the upcoming report.
A litre of super in Cameroon moved from 730 francs CFA to 840 francs CFA, while that of diesel left from 720 francs CFA to 828 francs CFA on February 3, 2024, representing a 15% increase. The decision was taken at the end of a meeting chaired by the Minister of Commerce, Luc Magwabaga Tangana, with the Ministries of Transport, Water and Energy, Labour and Social Security represented.
Nous avons constaté qu'il fallait nécessairement.
We realized that there was a need to readjust the prices in order to reduce the weight of the subsidies and not to completely eradicate the subvention. The government will continue to subvent petroleum prices in Cameroon.
Du point de vue, le consensus est total.
The second increase after the first on February 1, 2023 was officially announced in a press release signed on February 2 by the Secretary General at the Prime Minister's Office, Severin Magua Fuda. The same document highlighted that domestic gas and kerosene prices remained unchanged respectively at 6,500 francs CFA per 12.5 kilograms bottle and 350 francs CFA per litre of oil. As part of accompanying measures following the price adjustment, the Cameroon government plans to increase the income of public officials by 5%. Once effective, this increase in salaries in Cameroon will be the second in the space of 1 year after February 1st, 2023, and also following an increase in the prices of these petroleum products. The government also envisages the opening of a dialogue with the private sector on the Guaranteed Interprofessional Minimum Wage Rate (SMIC), as well as on related issues. The reduction of certain tax burdens and custom charges in the road and transport sectors are also in view. These changes come in a context where inflation reached 7% in Cameroon in 2023, the first time in 28 years, a percentage projected to increase with a now inevitable rise in the transport prices.
Economist Jean-Marie Bidar has called for the revamp of the National Refining Company, Sonara, as a solution to the recent price increase in the petroleum products in Cameroon. Let's take a listen to the following interview he granted.
Look around us here. All the countries surrounded Cameroon have their local oil refinery. I go to in Chad, for instance, they have the refinery of Jeremiah. I go in Gabon, they have their refinery there. I go to Congo Brazzaville, they have their Coraf, Congolais de Raffinage. I go to Ivory Coast, they have la C, Société Ivoirienne de Raffinage. And in Cameroon, we have our Société Nationale de Raffinage. And unfortunately, between the night of Saturday, let's say Wednesday, 30th to Saturday, 31st May 2029, our refinery has collapsed. It cannot refine our Kamkole, the name of our local oil here is called Kamkole. We cannot refine it there, unfortunately. So what are we doing? We exploit locally Kamkole and we send it in abroad, and they refine it and we go and buy it to supply our local need here. That is the real problem. And in my point of view, to change this situation, if we don't do it, if we don't reform Sonara, such as Sonara will be capable of refining our Kamkole, the situation is that we are facing another increase next year. And the year after, in 26, we'll face also another increase. So the solution is to reform our national refinery such that before 2029, we have noticed that we didn't face such increasement. And actually, the government is not the only partner, let's say the only factor on which we can rest to elaborate, to draw our economic policy. Unfortunately, this responsibility is shared between the government and the international fund donors. And they are here to ask the government to reimburse what we have received for many years. And we have problem now, we are not ready to pay the many installments. You can notice that last year, 30th September 2023, the stock of our debt was close to 12,500 billion CFA francs. And those international fund donors, notably the IMF, International Monetary Fund, they are here to be sure that by the end of any month, the installment supposed to be paid in abroad will be done. And they have noticed that where they can obtain rapidly, quickly, money is in the petrol. That's why they are asking that they increase, and actually they have increased close to 108 CFA francs as far as automotive gasoline is concerned, and 100 on the price of fuel as far as the fuel is concerned. It's enough, according to me. It cannot help us to, let's say, revamp our local industry. It cannot help us to achieve the main goal of the government. They are calling it import substitution. The main production entrant is automotive gasoline. From January 2023 to February 2024, that price has been increased for close to 41%. It's enough for such a sensitive production entrance. Is not the real way to take things. In my point, according to me, they have to decrease that increasement such a way that they can validate it lots, so not say 258 CFA francs, they can bring it back to, let's say, 50 francs, and then they carry internationally money to revamp Sonara. The solution is to revamp Sonara, is not to continue to increase the price in the petrol station.
Meanwhile, members of the board of directors of the National Refinery Company Sonara met at the company's headquarters in Limbe yesterday in an extraordinary session that was presided over by the Minister of Water and Energy, Gaston Elundo Isumba. During the session, the third-grade magistrate Bako Haruna was installed as the company's general manager. He was till now the general manager of the Cameroon Oil Transportation Company, CATCOT. Bako Haruna takes over from Simon Junu, who has served in the same position for close to 5 years. Minister Gaston Elundo Isumbo has charged Bako Haruna to work towards the reconstruction of Sonara. Let's follow on.
On the instructions of the head of state, has introduced a line entitled Support of the Refinery of 4788 CFA into the price structures of petroleum products in order to restructure and pay off Sonara debts. A number of agreements have already been signed to this end, with the aim of the first pacifying relations between Sonara and its partners. Mr. General Manager, your role will therefore be to speed up the restructuring process already initiated by the government in collaboration with our technical and institutional partners. With regard to the reconstruction of refinery, the head of state instructed that the project be carried out under public-private partnership. I therefore urge you, as project owner, to take all necessary steps to recruit a financial and technical partner to rebuild with upgrading the damaged infrastructure. It is new in its new configuration. The refinery must be fitted with hydrocracking units that will enable Cameroon's crude oil to be refined to the heavy molecule in order to upgrade the distillate and produce noble products that are sold at higher prices on the market. With regard to Sonara's import activities, I urge you to pay special attention to making petroleum products available on the domestic market, as you have been instructed, with an 80% share by the states. In its current form, Sonara is a primary depot, and I request you to ensure the development and reconversion of its storage tanks, which will guarantee a significant source of revenue to the company. In the same vein, as Sonara's laboratory is an international benchmark that guarantees the quality of products placed on the market, I urge you to pay special attention to its operation and functioning as the guarantee of our country's readiness. Broadly speaking, it is your responsibility to ensure the equilibrium of your structure, and this will require not only peaceful social climate among your staff, but also the safeguarding of the general interest.
This is Her Review, a rundown of the week's news-making events on High Television. Welcome back. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Barobe, has urged the Agricultural and Value Chain Development Project AIVDP team to work hard towards the completion of the earmarked project by 2024. He was speaking during the 8th Steering Committee meeting of AIVDP that took place in Buea over the week. Larry Calvin Tengenenka report.
The hierarchy members of the Agriculture Infrastructure and Value Chain Development Project, AIVDP, are in session for their 8th Ordinary Committee meeting, presiding over by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Barobe.
Many contracts have been signed, and now the project team has to work hard so that all the contracts will be executed by the end of the year, or by 2025, which is the closure of the project. We have Swabib that is on the field. We think that farmers will have financial resources to implement their project and help us to achieve food security in the region.
The agriculture and local development outlet that has been doing enormous in the agriculture value chain domain, something that is being outlined by its coordinator.
If I were to give a global picture, we are at about 55% fiscal realization. This is because one of the key activities, which is the construction and rehabilitation of 290 kilometers of feeder roads, which carries over 25% of the entire project cost, is just about to start. We have just last week signed contracts for 5 lots of that particular activity, and so that is why the fiscal realization is only at about 55%.
The Vice Chairman of AIVDP outlined on the enormous work done by the set structure to the satisfaction of local farmers.
We noticed that the farmers on the field are satisfied. Most of their problems have been solved. The activities are sustained by the project on the field, so we are satisfied. Now, this is the last year. We must double our effort to convince the government that to renew, to maintain the project, because the government is expecting to see how the chain is getting value, how the products are getting more and more value.
With 55% rate of realization work done, AIVDP structure remains resolute in attaining more grounds with the time left.
But we are optimistic because since we have signed the contracts and we are in the dry season, hopefully our contractors will be able to perform, and if they do perform as we expect, then by the end of this year and maybe early 2025, the project we should be able to round up on a very significant percentage.
As the Agriculture Infrastructure and Value Chain Development Project sees her concluding days, the outlet remains resolute in seeing that she continue alleviating most Cameroonians from poverty by embedding them with the necessary skills when it comes to mechanized agriculture and local development.
Many thanks, Larry Calvin Tengening. Some youths in Dop will tomorrow receive checks from the government on the occasion of the National Youth Day celebration. This follows a training they had undergone. The government's gesture is in a bid to empower them economically and also enhance self-employment. Greater details with Alice Kamelik here.
In order to enhance and empower youth to be economically vibrant, a capacity workshop for youth poultry farmers in Dop has taken place this February 8, 2024 as part of activities marking the Youth Week.
To build their capacity, to reinforce their knowledge in this activity, and secondly, to assist them to carry out their activity in a better way by themselves. We are very, very grateful. We had resource persons who came with their knowledge, with their experience and practicalities, imparted the knowledge to them. And we are here very grateful to all those resource persons who train these women. And we hope we will attain our objectives at the end of the day when they start practicing this exercise.
The youths were called upon to be ambassadors and educate separatist fighters to drop their weapons.
They should be disciples of peace, to preach peace wherever they are, and to participate in Youth Week activities, so that within these circumstances will be buoyant. And we say we are very, very grateful for this magnanimity of the head of state, who is acting through the Minister of Livestock, Fishery and Animal Industry, and started with Sideno, and now the Ngok Etunjia administration has copied this good example and is imparting it to the rest of the population. Is to transform Ngok Etunjia division, this valley, into a valley of birds, and that we will have the birds well supplied in Ngok Etunjia.
Different models that can enable the youths engaged in poultry farming for sustainable growth were taught during the workshop.
To maximize plenty profit. I know that this is going to take this chemical, go take this chemical, no. And to another extent, and the tribesmen who go in for pure farming, who try to reduce chemical, then follow this natural one way it will hurt was key. Who no over going for chemical, where you can't put against we. Because I mean I really chop the fowl. Even if you sell them, never will cook and catch up. So you think the way you keep the fowl, you think to say I will chop that fowl.
With the day-old chicks that will be given to this youth on February 11, it is hoped that they will seize this opportunity and become entrepreneurs.
We now take on the sad story as some shop owners along the Mamfe Motorpark have suffered great losses following a fire incident that occurred, bringing down all their businesses to nothing. Aisha Mbeng tells us more about the incident that occurred last Thursday.
It was about 4:30 p.m. Thursday afternoon, where some bus owners along the way in Motorpark Mamfe Manu Division were in shock as their bus places were reduced to nothing by fire. The mayor of Mamfe Council, Robertson Tabenchon, visited the scene.
Only 10 shops have been burned today by unknown fire. We don't know where the fire came from. The eyewitnesses told us that the fire started from a shop that was locked up. The person owning the shop was not there at the time. So we barely can identify what was the cause of the fire. I believe that the forces of law and order are going to take measures to investigate and to know what is the actual cause of the fire.
In strong terms, Mayor Robertson Tabenchon made it clear that separatist fighters had nothing to do with the fire.
I want to state it very clear, critically clear, that it is not an ambassador attack. It is not, the fire is not caused by the Amazonian terrorists. No, it is caused by unknown situation. And I believe that the forces of law and order are going to investigate, and in the days ahead they will tell us what actually happened.
While sympathizing with those who have suffered great loss, it is important to also extend a helping hand.
Over the week, Cameroon joined the world over to celebrate the International Day of Zero Tolerance for female genital mutilation. The 13th edition was under the theme Her Voice, Her Future, investing in survivors-led movement. As you tell us, Alice Kamelik here.
Every February 6 is observed as the Day of Zero Tolerance of Female Genital Mutilation. This International Day provides an opportunity to recognize this global issue while raising awareness of those whose lives have been claimed or who have suffered lifelong effects.
Female genital mutilation is estimated to affect more than 200 million women and girls. Thankfully, this harmful practice has been declining in recent decades, although in countries where it has been practiced traditionally, 1/3 of girls are still subject to it. Surveys tell us that even in countries where female genital mutilation continues, the majority of women and men think it should end.
Female genital mutilation, although primarily concentrated in 30 countries in Africa and Middle East, female genital mutilation is a universal issue and is also practiced in some countries in Asia and Latin America.
It harms the health and well-being of women and girls. Many have turned that pain into advocacy and are speaking out against female genital mutilation. Today, on the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, we stand with survivors to hear their voices, to ensure they have the care that they need, and to support their efforts.
Female genital mutilation continues to persist amongst immigrants' population. Over the last 3 decades, the prevalence of female genital mutilation has declined globally. This is an egregious violation of fundamental human rights that causes lifelong harm to the physical and mental health of women and girls.
In some places, health workers are the ones doing the cutting. In Kenya and many other countries, WHO is supporting health workers to resist these requests and instead be advocates for change. Kenya can be proud of its progress. Thank you all for your commitment to a world with zero tolerance for female genital mutilation. WHO remains committed to supporting you as we work together for a world that, instead of harming girls, gives them the dignity, the rights, and the future they deserve.
However, with the increased rate of awareness creation and education, most areas, particularly in Cameroon, who used to carry out these practices, no longer see the need to inflict such a pain on an individual.
Let's now move over to the Far North region as the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Coutez, has expressed satisfaction over the roadmap covered in some road projects in Marwa. She was speaking during an inspection visit as High TV's correspondent in Marwa, Mubarak Yaruba, tells us.
The ongoing project of road construction in the city town of Marwa were evaluated by the Minister of Urban Development during an official visit in the Far North region. Celestine Kecha-Coutez, as well as French ambassador in Cameroon, have appreciated the level of the execution rate of some road project in Marwa. Despite some technical hitches noted here and there on the proper executions of this project, the minister called on the population to be patient and avoid any political manipulation by political leaders.
Quand on apporte des projets pour embellir, pour donner la chance à Marwa de prendre son tour.
When the government is bringing some development project in Marwa, I would have liked to hear voices that express his thanks to the government for his effort.
Mais les bagarres politiques sont déjà entrées dans les projets de l'État.
But political fighting have already started among political leaders, and I say no to any forms of political manipulations of the population on the ongoing road project.
Pour faire passer des idées politiques.
According to the urban development boss, Marwa will be totally transformed into a new city with great changes on the urbanization system. She further reassured road users that everything will be okay as the government is setting eyes on the executions of this project. It is often said that when roads are accessible, development follows. Marwa town is therefore ready to experience such a development in the upcoming years.
We now talk about sports. Different teams in the Southwest Regional League have started preparations ahead of the 2023-2024 football season. The competition is to secure a spot in the national Interpols that would unfold subsequently. As to tell us, Sonny Tangui.
And the time is ticking as clubs in the Southwest region are getting ready for the new season, that is the 2023-2024 Southwest Regional League that will be commencing in the weeks ahead. Mind you that the over 20 teams that will be participating in this year's championship are already putting all it takes to why not fighting for that one spot that will be available at the end of the season, that is going to be right from the mini Interpols and why not to the national Interpols to represent the Southwest region. I will talk about clubs like Fako United who wants to have a taste of the MTN Elite 2 Championship. They will have to battle a lot, especially big names like Boya United, Asino Dev, Ates. LX Sport 2 is coming in with a new breeze, a new fire, because they equally have as ambitions to have a taste of what the MTN Elite 2 Championship is all about. Like Tico United, Bestars Academy, Option Sports Academy, Sinodev, Prisons FC, Elengsport, Kamjo, and many others have engaged themselves into a number of friendly games to evaluate the progress of their various training sessions.
Strategy is just the second week we started. We are still doing a physical preparation, and we just played this match to see how the players can resist play with the load given them. So it was a sort of match like to release the load putting throughout the physical preparation. It's satisfying because I was it's a game, even though we have to win, but we're not really looking for victory. We had things that we were looking at. If the victory came, we would have taken it. The problem when I came to Sinodel because of the project. We are very interested in the project they have, and it's an old house for me. So I just came back to an old house, and I'm very comfortable with the administration here. Deep hole, but it's football. If you can play the strong boys before you arrive in Interpol, it means that you'll be very, very prepared. Any team that will qualify for Mini Interpol in that pool will be very, very prepared to play the Mini Interpol without any issue.
Other clubs like Fako United, ambitions are higher as the new management reveals.
Well, we are just at the last stage of time, the last note, where we'll be able to begin the championship. So far, so good. We have been doing well, and we are expecting a good start of the seasons. And all the children are there. They are good. I thought I have to make a change for a new experience, a new environment, so that I'll be able to gain experience too, and to be able to meet with several other persons too. That's just my reasons of leaving the club to Fako United Football Academy. I'm very, very sure of myself, very sure of what I'm doing, and I think that by the grace of God, I will be able to play the Mini Interpol. I'm assuring the Fako United supporters and even the football lovers within the region.
However, it should be remembered that the league that was supposed to start on February 3rd, 2024 has been postponed to a later date, giving these 20-plus teams more training days to await the grand launching of the Southwest Regional League 2023-2024 season, as they are ready to create one spot at the end of the season to represent the region into the national Interpols.
It is with that sport report from Sonny Tangui that we put a cap on today's edition of Her Review. Many thanks for watching. I've been Cynthia Latter. Until we meet again next Saturday, God willing, to have a blessed weekend in the company of programs on High Television.